Hey y'all, it's Eric with Lawn Care again, and I'm here to do a video, quick review comparison on my two weed eaters. I have a Husqvarna 525L and a Stihl FS 94R. So here we go. All right, so here's my two weed eaters. They're pretty dirty. I did wash them a couple weeks ago when I first started the season and re-greased the gearboxes. Repacked the gearboxes on both of them, but they're both working fine. The Stihl, if you guys own one of these Stihls, apparently Stihl issued a service bulletin. The fuel filters in them get restricted. So when I first started this season, it did start, but it took several pulls and didn't like to restart even after it warmed up for the day. But now it's starting good, just like it did last year when I bought it. I've had both of these weed eaters for the Stihl just under a year and the Husqvarna for about a year and a half. So the Husqvarna was my main trimmer for a long time, for about 6 months or so, and then I bought the Stihl as a second trimmer so that I had to have a backup in case one of them went down. Bought the Stihl June of last year, 2020, and I've used both of them pretty equally. I still do switch back and forth between them. So real quick though, I'll just kind of run down pros and cons of each. If y'all don't know, these two trimmers on paper look exactly the same. They have very similar statistics, similar power, weight, fuel capacity. I think the Stihl has a little more fuel capacity, but not much. And yeah, weight is, I mean, it's negligible. Without the trimmer guards, I think the Husqvarna might be a little bit lighter, but that's just from the feel of my hands. You know, I haven't actually weighed them, so like I said, it's negligible. They're both very lightweight trimmers, commercial grade. Power wise, the top end, they are very comparable, very equal. I do have a couple brush trimming jobs, and for that one I used the Husqvarna simply because the brush trimmer heads that I have fit the Husqvarna like naturally, with no adapters or anything. I have the adapters for the Stihl head, but I'd rather not fool with it. So I usually end up using I have always ended up using the Husqvarna for that. It's just a little easier. Take the head off and put those brush blades on because you don't have to use the adapter for it. However, mid to low range, I prefer the Stihl 100%. The Husqvarna is very happy at 100% throttle. You just hit that throttle and go, and it's happy and powerful and really good. However, I feel like at half throttle or a quarter throttle, where you're just, you know, trimming up some nice grass or around a lawn or something, the Stihl outperforms the Husqvarna. It's a little happier at half throttle. Now it is also happier at full throttle, but or also happy at full throttle, but I feel like it has more range than the Husqvarna does. Comfort wise, they're, you know, there's some things I like about both of them. The Husqvarna, I like, now besides it being wobbly, I like that the trigger on the Husqvarna is a 2-finger trigger. It's more versatile, or if I'm just want to use one finger, I can pull way back here, which gives me more mechanical leverage. Excuse me. And anybody that runs a weed eater all day long, you know that, you know, anything that can make the trigger pull easier or easier to feather is a good thing. Whereas the Stihl over here is a single finger trigger. So I like the trigger on the Husqvarna better, but you know, Stihl's not bad. Also, the handle on the Stihl is this rubberized plastic, which is really nice, whereas the Husqvarna is just straight up plastic. But more on that in a little bit. All right, sorry about that, y'all. The wife pulled up with dinner and dog was going crazy, so pause the video, I'll be back. I'm coming back to it. So as I was saying, the comfort level, I don't mind the plastic on the Husqvarna. A lot of people complain about it, and it is a little too loose for my liking, but I also wear gloves whenever I work, and You don't really notice it that much. And this is actually the anti-vibration system, which works pretty good, and it's not bad. Some people don't like it. I'm one way or the other about it. It's obviously a point where Husqvarna cut some costs. I will say the Stihl definitely feels more ergonomic in your hand. And that kind of brings me to my last point is value-wise. Even though these trimmers are very similar in many aspects, power, weight, kind of their intended purpose is that lightweight everyday trimmer that still has a good amount of power in it. The price points on these trimmers are vastly different. The Husqvarna, you can even buy this one at Lowe's, although I bought it from my dealer for about 200 bucks. It's $199, $95, or give or take, depending on where you are and what your dealer does. The Stihl comes in about $360 to $380, somewhere in that. Like I said, obviously it depends on your dealer, if there's a sale, whatever. So almost twice the price for this trimmer as the Husqvarna. Now, last year I really tried to use both of them equally to really have a good feel of what I liked and which one was quote unquote better than the other. This year, since I've started, I just find myself gravitating towards the Stihl a lot more. It's just, to me, it's just a nicer trimmer, and if you have both of them, why not use the nicer one, right? But like I said, I bought the Stihl June of last year, and all I had was the Husqvarna. I actually had a second Husqvarna that was a smaller residential unit that I kept as my backup that I ended up selling. And so this Husqvarna 525L was my go-to main trimmer for a long time, for more than 6 months actually. And I mean, no problems really, no issues. I have changed the filter 2 or 3 times on the Husqvarna because it sucks up all that dust and gunk in it. The Husqvarna chokes out when that filter gets too clogged. And I also changed out the spark plug once because the spark plug got fouled. There was some junk that got in and got between the contact and the electrode in the spark plug. Another little feature, the Husqvarna has a manual choke. So you just pull this up, start it to get it going and then push it down. The Stihl has an automatic choke. Turn, push in, now it's choked, and when you pull it and get it going, when you pull the trigger, I'll show you back here, it automatically releases the choke, and then you can just go. I actually prefer the manual choke on the Husqvarna. It's not hard to hit once the engine starts catching, and sometimes you want to give it just a little bit of throttle while it's choked to get it started. And you can't do that on the Stihl because then it releases the choke. So more flexibility with Husqvarna, kind of an easier starting system, I guess, on the Stihl. Is whatever you prefer, 6 one way, half a dozen the other, in my opinion. Also the trimmer heads, which I forgot to talk about earlier. The Stihl holds about twice as much as the Husqvarna does, so you don't have to reload as much with the Stihl. However, I feel like the Stihl takes twice as long to reload because you put 2 strings in it. There's an upper string and a lower string, and each of those, the upper spool and the lower spool, can hold about as much as the Husqvarna can total. The Husqvarna, you get 1 long string and loop it halfway, and then you take that hook and hook it in there and then wrap both of them. So it does have upper and lower, but it's sorry, excuse me, it has little hooks in there that will catch on to the loop, and you just wrap it with 1 string. So easier to re-spool, but you have to re-spool twice as often. This one takes about twice as long as the Husqvarna does. Neither of them are difficult once you get used to it, and I don't really have a preference either way. I haven't tried this. The next thing I want to try with these is the speed feed heads, and when I try those out, I'll let you guys know. But overall, I personally prefer the Stihl but I am not, I'm not upset with Husqvarna. I'm not selling it. It's going to stay in the trailer until it dies, basically. If you need a value conscious trimmer, I mean, get the Husqvarna. It's a really good trimmer. It's pretty cheap comparatively to a lot of the other commercial trimmers out there on the market. If you are doing this full time, or you just want a really nice trimmer that you don't have to worry about, do the Stihl. Stihl's a really nice trimmer. I love it. It's very comfortable in the hands. It feels good to trim with all day long. And yeah, so there's my review. Hope you guys liked that review. I'm going to start both these trimmers. I did do some work today, but I never actually used the trimmers. I was doing shrub cleaning or shrub trimming. So here, let me get the camera set up here. And I think that the Husqvarna needs a tune-up, so it might take a few extra pulls than normal. But we're going to start with the Stihl 94R. So let me tilt it down just a little more. Couple pumps. That auto choke. Choke off. Okay. And then since I got that those fuel filters changed out, it's first pull every time after that. So Stihl starts super easy. Like I said, that was a completely cold start. It hasn't been started in 2 or 3 days. I think we had rain this morning, and then I didn't work yesterday because we have family in town. So I think 3 days it hadn't been started in. So really easy start up. So let me grab the Husqvarna. Choke on, couple pumps. Ooh, no choke. Well, that's not a good sign. Like I said, this thing probably needs a tune-up, but that's also atypical of it. Hardly ever does that. All right, y'all. Sorry about I don't know what's wrong with the Husqvarna. Like I said, I think it just needs a tune-up, probably a new filter and stuff. It normally starts up pretty good. And I will say that the Stihl usually takes a little longer to get warmed up than the Husqvarna. The Husqvarna is a little looser. So as soon as that Husqvarna is going, you hit that trigger, boom, you can go full throttle and you're good. The Stihl, once it gets started, you gotta kind of gradually work your way into the throttle. So it's, you know, an extra 20 seconds first time you start it during the day. So it's not a big deal. But yeah. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, and thanks for watching. This was that little crying baby in the background. This is my baby girl, Charlie. She wanted to be in a video, so say hi, Charlie. Say hey. Can you wave? Oh, you just want the phone? All right. See y'all later.